Hi, welcome to Universal Interiors. This is Les Ingelstead, and so very happy to be with y'all today. I'm just really excited. It's been a little bit long. The days are different, that's for sure. Everybody can agree on that. But today I'm in the kitchen, and I wore a little fluffy top because it's a little bit probably easier to hide some of the stuff that went in the last year with this. But nevertheless, I'm gonna include some blueberry muffins because that's fruit. It's good for us, and why not? So we're gonna start today with, we're taking a 1/4 cup of butter. I'm gonna melt it on up in my ever faithful microwave. I think I told you this along the way, but I'm not big on my microwave, but man, oh man, aren't we grateful that we live in this age? Because just like that, we'll have soft butter. That's the one good thing. There's so many good things in our country. There really, really is. And a simple lead in to let's think about all those things. The simplicity of the years gone by has certainly changed. That's for sure. But out of the simple world, we have recipe books. Grandmas didn't have the internet and Google to say, let's see what they have today, and then go on in. Nope, we use the good old-fashioned church cookbooks. Okay, I better get going here, though, and tell you what I'm going to create in front of you. So I've taken a 1/4 cup of butter, and then I'm going to take a 1/2 cup of white sugar. And we'll start that, because that's kind of a good mix for everything, right? Butter, sugar. Okay, so 1/2 cup of white sugar goes into there, and then I need an egg. So we'll get that. I have often thought in the last few months, while we haven't been able to get together, Raina and I, about what everybody's doing. And I'm hoping that you're going, there it is, cracked egg, into the kitchen and creating things because you have time at home. Well, kind of time. I understand a lot of you parents don't have as much time and freedom to do this, but perhaps turning it into a lesson, that'll be good. So I have to, make that little egg a little beaten because that's the way you bake. Okay, so I've taken a 1/4 cup of butter and 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 egg, and I'm just gonna mix that all up here. We're just gonna get that base going for you. Just like you're making cookies, bars, bread, whatever. Generally, this is the beginnings, your sugars and your butters, your oils, that sort of stuff. So there we have that. Now I'm gonna take our flour, and we are going to mix. It's interesting in my little church cookbook how many recipes has pretty much the exact 1 cup and a half, 1 cup and a half. So that must have been the general rule of thumb back in the day. Can you imagine in the old days going in and you didn't have all these supplies? You had to wait to go to town and, and make sure you didn't forget anything, because wow, that'd be a little trouble for Les because sometimes my kitchen cupboards get forgotten. So I have taken a cup and a half, but I usually go a little scant on my flour. I think it's for many years living up in Colorado and learning that you can go a little bit less. That because of the way the oxygen and all that business up there in the thin air, you couldn't put as much of it, increase or decrease things. So I've kind of kept that here in Minnesota, and it works pretty good. But now I'm going to take my baking soda, and I'm putting about a teaspoon into my flour. Okay, when Raina gives you this little recipe, I might have to change it a bit on the book because I actually don't go, there's my 1 of baking powder, and there is about 2. And I do a little differently because it says 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and that just gets super cakey, and I don't like really big cakey bread or muffins and that sort of stuff. And the recipe also doesn't include cinnamon. And neither does my cupboard include cinnamon. Oh, look, I was so good. I put cinnamon out. So that's going in here. Now, as you can see, there's your cup, the soda, the powder, and now I'm just going to sprinkle, let's say about a teaspoon or more of cinnamon. Do you know how good cinnamon is for you? That's what they say. And then you got salt, just a touch. So now I'm mixing that all up, and I've got my flour, cinnamon, little salt, baking soda powder, and now it's going on in here into the muffin mix. Okay, I also am going to go with the last ingredient, and that's milk. So forgive me, head into the fridge, finding my milk. And so you can do this a couple ways. Like when I make banana bread or something like that, I'll oftentimes keep my moisture and just kind of do it a little flour, a little milk, little flour. It's just easier to stir in. But you know what? Today, as I mentioned, the stuff around the middle is a little loose. So this is a little harder to stir. So this will help a lot on the core. And no matter what our age, we need a good core, because that'll keep our back healthier. All around, we'll just feel better about ourselves. So see, I'm stirring it on in. And now it's going to get a little bit harder to stir once I get to that point. But for the most part, you can see it's about the right temperature. The mixture just feels good in the, see the consistency? Good. That's about where you want to stop. I don't have the big old-fashioned mixers. If anybody has one to donate, great. Although for now, I'm great. My arm muscles work out. It's very healthy. This is, like I said, blueberry muffins. I take a fruit mix actually, and I'm going to, and all of you that bake know they're called a fold in. So I'll start by putting some of the fruit. I've taken about a cup, okay? About a cup, and we have blueberries and raspberries in here. I just do that fruit mix for a smoothie that I make from time to time. So that's the exact fruit I do. It's easy. I mean, if you have fresh fruit, good for you. I am a frozen food, make it a little bit easier to get to person. So here I am just folding it in. Not a lot of mixing, but there, see, now it starts to, for the most part, try to get all of those little goods in there. Sometimes I go heavy on the fruit, depending upon my feeling of the day, but here we go, and you just fold it in and fold it under. And forgive me, because I know there's some precious women that watch, and they probably are going, what is she doing that for? Because I'm doing a little bit more than I probably should. Okay, that's about what it looks like. Not super appetizing, but it will be good. Muffin pans, if you are so fortunate to have the old-fashioned kinds like I do, so much fun. And I'll spray again. I know grandma's, sorry, I use this. It's just easier, because I know that they would grease it with their little finger and make it so much better than using the old-fashioned. I mean, the old-fashioned way is definitely good, but I go with the spray. So just like you saw me, just really lightly spray. I'm going to take now a tablespoon or so. Okay, this again is Leslie's way of doing it, because it says that you'll have about enough to make a dozen. But if you put a tablespoon, I don't ever want to have that much more, okay? Because then it gets really high and fluffy, okay? So I'm going to put all of this down and get this all into the pans this way. So I am wondering, and I'm just going to share with you what I have done during this time that we've been told we need to stay inside and not go out. It's hard, isn't it, for those of us that run around? But I have been able to read more books and write even old-fashioned letters during this time. And so I'm hoping, as you're watching today, that you might feel perhaps challenged to do that. Because once we get good book, good words into our way of thinking, we're going to be better for it. Just read a proverb, and it says, good news from far away is like water to the thirsty soul. And I thought that was pretty terrific. It caused me to write a note to somebody I haven't written for a while. Just like the old-fashioned in the kitchen baking is going on right now, that's the way I want us to kind of look at why all this stuff is going on. Maybe it's just to slow us all down. I know it has me. And as I was saying, it has me a lot more finding things to bake and make or books to read or words to write on a piece of paper. We have to figure out ways to increase joy. And we do. Everybody needs it. Our world is hurting. And I just think that we need to challenge ourselves each and every day to get up in the morning. And maybe you're like, I'm not going to ever bake anything like that, Les. It's just me in the house. Well, guess what? I can think of a whole lot of people that would love your baked goods that maybe just live down the street from you. Or you might go to church and some people there that you know are single, never have anything, or the kids. How about that? Just look. Go out in the world and start looking for ways you can serve. That is one of the books, not one of them, the main book that I definitely encourage everybody to read, and that's the Word of God, because in that it's simple enough. It really is. Just do good. That's what Jesus did. Walked and did good. Okay, I'm getting ready to get these muffins in the oven. I do put on a cinnamon sugar and melted butter. And anybody that makes any kind, it's the crumble topping, so you put like a couple tablespoons of flour, your melted butter, and I've done about 2 tablespoons of that. Then I'm going to go about, it would be about a quarter measure there of brown sugar and a bunch of cinnamon, because again, that's the best part of it. And we're going to stir that all up like this. And you'll just have it all put it, and it'll turn into like crumbs, and you can do whatever you want to. You can go a lot less, not use it all, and the recipe doesn't even call for it. So I just snuck this on there because who doesn't like a little sugar and cinnamon? So that's what we're gonna do, and I'm just gonna take a little bit of this and see, I'll just crumble it there on the top. So that is what we're doing last of all. Okay, so now I'm just gonna get this finished up and get this in the oven, and we'll be ready to have some in about 20 minutes. Okay, and here is our little muffin magic coming on out of the very hot oven. How about that? Now, Rain and I get to have one of these treats very soon. And I hope you take time and make some. Again, if you're all by yourself in the house, I think most people wouldn't mind eating one of those that are around the corner, right? Thanks again. Have a great day.